What would you do if God asked for your reputation? Not your comfort, not your plans, but the very name you have built. Ruth was asked that question, and this is how she walked toward her answer. Ruth walks into judgment. One misstep and her name vanishes. Not just her future, but her people, her breath in the memory of the village. You know what it is to risk being erased, to stand where the ground gives no promise. The field stretches bare beneath a sky drained of color. Dusk settles like ash over the threshing floor. No trees, no shelter. Only the hard-packed earth, cracked from sun, littered with straw and the brittle husks of grain. This is not a place of harvest joy. It is where life is winnowed, where the wind decides what stays and what is thrown away. Wind, always wind. It lifts the dust in slow spirals, catches the chaff in its breath, carries it off into the dark. The wheat, dense, heavy, falls back to the ground. Separation. Not gentle, not fair, just necessary. By night, the floor belongs to silence. The workers are gone, the oxen stilled. Only the owner remains, sleeping near the grain heap, his body curled close to the last warmth of the day's labor. A man's breath in the open, a thin line between provision and ruin. Naomi spoke the words like a prayer wrapped in fire. Go, uncover his feet, lie down. Not a whisper of romance, a command etched in desperation. Ruth carries it now, step by step, across the cold earth. Each footfall muffled by dust, each breath held too long. This is not seduction. This is petition, a plea shaped like a risk. In the dark, under stars that offer no witness, she approaches a sleeping man. Not to awaken desire, but to invoke duty. The Hebrew word kanaf, wing, corner of a garment. Two meanings bound like threads in a single cloth. To ask for the kanaf is to ask for shelter. To slide beneath the edge of another's cloak is to say, cover me, claim me. Let your name become my roof. Ruth does not reach for a ring. She reaches for fabric, for the hem of a robe that carries the weight of lineage, of law, of covenant. The garment is the contract, the covering, the promise. No ink, no scroll, just wool and thread and the breath of a man who must choose. She kneels. The earth bites her bones. Her fingers tremble, not from cold, though the night air scrapes the skin, but from the sheer weight of what she asks. To be seen, to be accepted, to be drawn in. Boaz stirs, a shift in breath, a rustle of linen, the sound of a man waking into a moment he did not foresee. She says nothing, only waits. Her body a question, her silence a verdict waiting to fall. Rejection means exile, not just from this field, but from hope, from lineage, from the fragile thread of redemption Naomi clung to when she pulled her daughter-in-law back from Moab's graves. Acceptance, a new name, a new house, a future grafted onto the stump of loss. The wind stills. Even the dust hangs suspended, as if the earth itself holds its breath. What does it cost to ask for cover when you have nothing left to give? The garment lies between them, not yet offered, not yet refused. And the night, vast, indifferent, starless, watches. Stone, cold, cracked by centuries of drought and footsteps. The wall leans, a spine worn thin by time. Moss clings to its joints like memory refusing to let go. Each block bears the chisel marks of hands long turned to dust. Names carved once, now blurred. Erased by wind, by rain, by the slow breath of abandonment. This is not ruin. It is residue. The weight of what was built to last. Law, lineage, land, now sagging under its own name. A man once stood where Boaz stands. Older, bearded, robe heavy with authority. He held the right to step forward, to buy back the field, to take the widow, to carry the dead brother's name into the light of another dawn. The law said so. Clear, unbending. A chain of duty forged in the fire of survival. One man falls, another rises in his place. Not love, not choice, obligation. The ground must not be sold outside the family. The name must not vanish. The dead must not be forgotten. Leviticus spoke of redemption, not salvation, not grace. A transaction. A brother buys back what was lost. A field, a life, a name. The Goel walks in, settles the debt, lifts the burden. But only if he is willing. Only if he has the means. Only if the blood runs close enough to care. And Deuteronomy sharpened the edge. If a man dies childless, his brother takes the widow. Not to mourn, to produce. A son, born of the dead man's line, raised under his name. The child is not his. The act is not his. He empties himself so another may live. But Ruth walks outside that circle, outside the gate, outside the law's embrace. Moab. The word itself carries ash. A people born of incest, the tale says. Lot and his daughters in the cave. Fire on the plain. The smoke of Sodom still in their blood. Forbidden. Forever. No Moabite shall enter the assembly of Israel. Not in the 10th generation. Not ever. She knows this. Feels it in the way villagers turn their eyes. In the silence that follows her name. She speaks Hebrew, but her tongue shapes the vowels differently. Her hands move with a rhythm not of this soil. She is gleaner, not heir. Guest, not kin. And yet, she stands at the edge of the threshing floor, where decisions are made in darkness. Naomi's plan is not law. It is gamble. A frail thread spun from hope and hunger. It depends on one thing. The man. Boaz. His character. His compassion. His courage. Not the scroll. Not the priest. Not the elders. A single heart in the night. He is called Ish Gibor Chayil, a man of strength, of substance, landowner, respected, older, the kind of man who eats bread with the elders, whose word carries weight in the gate, but also vulnerable to scandal, to accusation. A woman at his feet in the dark? What story spreads by morning? That he failed to protect her? Or worse, that he invited her? And Ruth, uninvited, steps into that risk. Bare feet on packed earth. No veil, No escort, no witness. Only the stars, indifferent, distant. To approach a sleeping man is to risk being called Zona, harlot, defiled. Even Boaz will say it in the morning. You are not one of those women who disgrace themselves, as if the act itself could be twisted into shame. She carries more than her body. She carries Naomi's emptiness, the hollow years of loss. 2 sons dead, husband gone, land sold, name fading. And Ruth, foreign, childless, widowed, carries her own silence. No father to speak for her, no brother to stand beside her, no clan to shield her. Only this one act, this one moment, this one man. If he refuses, there is no appeal, no court, no second chance. The law does not protect her. It excludes her. The system is not hers. She is outside its walls, like the Moabites barred from the temple gate. Her fate rests not in justice, but in mercy. In the quiet decision of a man who could walk away and still be called righteous. This is the widow's world, a world of dependence, of waiting, of watching the faces of the powerful for any flicker of kindness, a smile, a nod, a gesture. Life hangs on the tilt of a chin, the softening of a voice. To beg without words, to plead with posture, to survive by the grace of those who have more than enough. And so she steps forward, out of the shadows where she has been safe, invisible, harmless, into the open, where every breath is seen, every movement judged, where obscurity was shelter, and now she tears it away. The air is still. No wind, no crickets, only the slow rise and fall of a man's sleep. The faint scent of barley and sweat, the rough weave of her dress against her knees, the cold press of stone beneath her palms. She waits, not for romance, not for passion, for a word, a gesture, a garment drawn over her shoulders. The past presses down, the law, the curse, the history of exclusion, the weight of being the one who does not belong. And yet, she is here, asking not for love, but for a name, for a place, for a future built not on blood, but on choice. The wall still stands, crumbling, but standing, like the law, like the past, like the burden carried in silence. And beneath it all, 2 hearts beating in the dark, one awake, one waiting. The night holds its breath. The earth does not shift, but something has already begun to move. Darkness, thick, unbroken. The heap of grain rises like a sleeping beast against the sky, its contours softened by moonless night. Boaz lies atop it, breath slow, belly full from roasted meat and new wine. The feast has wound down, laughter faded, embers cooled. Only the occasional shift of straw beneath him, the soft snore caught in his throat. His sandals lie discarded, one upright, one tipped sideways. The air holds the warmth of trampled earth and dried husks. He dreams, perhaps of sheaves standing tall, of oxen turning soil. Satiated, at peace. The land rests. So does he. A rustle. Not wind. Not rodent. Bare feet pressing into dust. Ruth moves forward, each step measured, deliberate. Her heart hammers, not from fear alone, but from the weight of motion. The hem of her dress brushes stone. Her breath comes shallow, caught between ribs. She kneels. The chill of the ground seeps through linen. Her fingers reach, not for his face, not for his chest, but for the edge of his cloak. She lifts it, gently. The wool yields. She uncovers his feet, exposes the soles, cracked from walking fields. Then she lies down, not beside, not near, at his feet. Her body aligned with his, a line drawn in submission. A gesture older than law, older than speech. The earth does not tremble, but something in the air shifts. A stillness deeper than silence. Midnight. The hour when dreams turn sharp. When the veil between sleep and waking frays. He stirs. A jolt. A gasp. His body twists, blankets tangling. One hand flies out, striking air. The other grips straw. His eyes snap open, black pools in shadow. He sees nothing, yet feels presence, weight, a shape where none should be. His breath hitches. A cold sweat beads at his temple. The dark presses in. The stars above turn, indifferent, slow. He does not call for guards, does not shout, only whispers, hoarse, strained. Who are you? From the shadow at his feet, a voice rises. Not trembling, not broken. Clear, resonant. I am Ruth, your servant. The words hang, not a plea, a declaration. She does not beg, does not weep. Her voice carries the dust of the road, the salt of widowhood, the quiet strength of one who has chosen to step into fire. She names herself, not the Moabite, not Naomi's daughter-in-law. Ruth, whole, present, known. Then, the line that bends history. Spread your wing over your servant, for you are a redeemer. Not a question, a request wrapped in faith. The word Goel, heavy, sacred. It means more than kinsman. It means avenger of blood, buyer of land, husband to the childless. The one who pulls names back from the edge of oblivion. She speaks it not as law, but as hope. As if the title might still live in a man's chest, even if the system has grown cold. He does not recoil, does not curse. His shoulders relax. A long breath escapes. Then, blessing. Blessed be you to the Lord, daughter. His voice softens, not with desire, with awe. This kindness, this loyalty, is greater than the first. He names it. Chesed. Not duty, not obligation. Steadfast love. You did not run after young men, whether poor or rich. His tone holds wonder. She chose him, an older man, a risk, a bridge. But then, hesitation. A shadow crosses his face. Yes, I am a redeemer. But... A pause. The word hangs. There is one closer than I. The air thickens. The stars seem to slow. A kinsman, near in blood, bound by custom. The law demands he be asked first. The obstacle is not refusal, it is procedure. Justice. The very thing that might undo them. Yet, oath, sworn beneath the turning sky. As the Lord lives, I will do for you all that is needed. His voice firm, not boast, not promise lightly given. A vow etched in breath and bone. He will stand at the gate. He will speak before elders. He will name the field, the debt, the duty. He will not let her fall through the cracks of tradition. Then, gift. He rises, reaches into the grain, scoops, pours 6 measures of barley into the fold of her shawl. The kernels clatter, dry, heavy, real. Each one a seed of tomorrow, a pledge. Not gold, not jewels, grain, the currency of life. The same grain she once gleaned stalk by stalk, now given freely, overflowing. Carry this back, he says. Do not return to your mother empty. The famine that drove them to Moab, broken. The emptiness Naomi carried like a second skin, answered. The shawl, once a burden, now a vessel, full, heavy with future. She rises, does not look back, steps into the gray. The east bleeds faint light, ashen, cool. Dawn approaches but does not yet claim the sky. She walks, swift, silent, past sleeping huts, past the threshing floor, past the boundary stones. The barley presses against her shoulder. Her breath fogs the air. Behind her, Boaz watches until her outline fades. The stars still turn. The night yields. The earth, unchanged yet altered, bears witness. Hope, carried in silence, on the back of a woman who asked not for love, but for a name, and received both. Sunlight, gold, poured over the rim of the clouds, spilling across the hills. Not harsh, not blinding. A slow flood, warming the green stalks, glistening on dew-heavy leaves. The land breathes, expands, as if remembering a name it had forgotten. This place, where stone meets sky, where dust rises in quiet spirals. This is no ordinary ground. It is the threshing floor of Arona, where David stood, barefoot, ash on his brow, offering sacrifice not for harvest, but for mercy. Where the angel's sword was stayed, where judgment halted, and grace began. And here, on this very soil, the temple would rise. Pillars, courtyards, the smoke of incense curling toward heaven. Worship built on a moment of redemption. Not conquest, not law. A plea answered in blood. The ground remembers. It holds the echo of hooves, the scrape of iron, the weight of a king on his knees. This is holy, not because it was chosen first, but because it was chosen after. After failure, after sin, after the counting of lives, and the silence that followed. Redemption planted where justice once demanded death. Boaz, not a priest, not a prophet, a landowner, a man with fields, with servants, with a name in the lineage. Yet he becomes a vessel, a shadow of one who would come, the Kinsman-Redeemer. Not by title alone, but by right, by means, by heart. He could have turned away, walked the path of ritual purity, closed the gate to the foreigner. But he did not. He saw Ruth, not as a Moabite, not as a risk to the bloodline, but as one who had fled to the shelter of the Almighty's wings. And he answered, not with charity, not with pity, with chesed, a love that binds beyond obligation, a loyalty that risks reputation. He had the right by kinship, the means by wealth, the will by compassion. 3 strands, not one missing, like the cords that would one day bind wood to a cross. Not coincidence, design, a pattern written in the soil before the temple was stone. She was outside the covenant, outside the camp, outside hope. A widow, a foreigner, a woman with no claim. Yet she stepped into the light of his tent, not to demand, to ask. Spread your wing. Not a cloak, not a blanket, a wing. Like the birds that nest in the clefts of the rock, like the image carved in the psalmist's breath. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. The gesture, the word, not mere protection, adoption, inclusion, a transfer from death to life, from emptiness to inheritance. And he answered, not with hesitation, but with honor, called her daughter, blessed her, not for beauty, for loyalty, for choosing the God of Israel over the gods of her people. A Gentile brought in, not by law, but by grace, not by birth, but by choice, not by merit, but by mercy. Now look, see beyond the field, beyond the grain. See the one who stands at the edge of the world, looking not at a woman at his feet, but at a people, broken, foreign, without hope, sin-stained, exiled. And he says, I will redeem you, not because we are worthy, but because he is love. The price? Not a handful of barley, not a deed signed at the gate. His own blood, poured out, spilled on the same earth where Araunah's oxen once trod, where David wept, where Boaz once slept among the sheaves. The ultimate Goel, the kinsman who became flesh, who walked the road to Calvary not as a distant judge, but as a brother, near in blood, near in sorrow, near in love. He paid what we could not, took what we deserved, and in doing so, opened the gate. From that union, Ruth and Boaz, came Obed, then Jesse, then David. The line did not end. It ascended, through exile, through silence, through centuries of waiting, until a child born in a stable, a king wrapped in rags, the Lion of Judah, the root of Jesse, the fulfillment of every promise whispered in the fields of Bethlehem, the Redeemer who marries his bride, not of one nation, but of every tribe, tongue, and people. The church, gathered, loved, ransomed, not by silver, not by land, by the Lamb who was slain before the foundation of the world. And the threshing floor, once a place of separation, of chaff cast to the wind, of judgment by winnowing fork, now becomes a floor of grace, where the wind does not scatter, but fills sails, where the fire does not consume, but refines, where the grain, once crushed, is made bread. The same bread broken for you, the same cup poured out, the same love that stooped to cover a widow now covers the world. The light flares, golden, unstoppable, not just on the hill, but in the heart. The redemption typed in barley and blood has come, and it is finished. Darkness, cool and deep. She stepped into it without proof, without promise. Only the shape of a man's kindness held in her memory. The path ahead, unseen, unlit. Yet she moved. One foot, then the next. Trust is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to walk anyway. You have done this too. Left the noise behind. Stepped towards something you could not measure. A whisper in your chest, guiding you where logic would turn back. The world calls it risk, calls it madness. But there is holiness in faithful steps taken in shadow. You are not alone in this. The air is still now. The water, flat as glass. No ripple, no disturbance. Just the quiet hush before dawn. The mountain stands in the distance, silent, unmoved. A presence, not a threat. This is where you are meant to be. Not in the storm, not in the striving. Here, in the space between breaths, where effort ends and rest begins. Redemption does not always come swiftly. Sometimes it waits behind a custom, behind a name, behind a law that must be honored. You have known the ache of waiting, the nearness of relief, just out of reach. The one who could help, bound by duty, by order, by truth. Not cruelty, not neglect, but the slow turn of justice. And still, hope remains. Because the heart behind the law is good. The Redeemer sees you. He has not forgotten. His ways are not hurried. His timing, deep as the lake, clear as the sky before color returns. He moves within the structure, not against it. And when the moment comes, he will act. Fully, rightly, completely. The law is not a chain. It is a shelter, a boundary that protects, a wall that keeps the wind from tearing through the tent. You are not trapped by divine order. You are held by it. Like the shore holds the water, like the sky holds the stars. There is safety in the way things are meant to be. When the first light touches the surface, it does not shout. It spreads, soft, gentle, a blush across the water, pink, gold, lavender. The colors do not clash, they blend, as if the sky and lake have practiced this each morning since the beginning. And you, sitting here, feel it too. The warmth on your face, the weight of the blanket across your legs, the slow rise and fall of your chest. You are covered, not by your own strength, not by your achievements, but by a wing outstretched, silent, hovering over you, like a bird over its nest, like a hand over a forehead in the night. You do not have to speak, do not have to plead, just be. Here, still, known. The sun climbs, the shadows shrink. The lake reflects not just light, but peace. Deep peace. The kind that settles in the bones. The kind that says, you are not empty. You carry what was given, what was promised, what was earned not by you, but for you. Let that truth sink in. Let it press against your heart like a stone in the palm. Solid, real, unmistakable. The air is calm. The world is quiet. And you, beloved, you can rest now. Close your eyes. Breathe. The covering remains, long after the light has filled the valley, long after the mountain has cast its shadow elsewhere. It remains, and so do you. Held, safe, whole. Sleep then, not in uncertainty, but in the hush of being seen, being known, being redeemed. Let the stillness carry you. Let the lake of your heart grow smooth. Let the dawn stay with you, long into the dark. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are here, and here is enough.